Good morning, and welcome to a special meeting of the Third Board of Directors. Today, we are reviewing our 2019 business plan. Is the media present? Yes, okay, I'm acknowledging the media. I need a motion to approve the agenda.
So move.
Second? All those in favor? I guess we're not using screen voting. We use that from time to time.
Well, there's not a whole lot of voting probably going to happen today.
Well, you never know. You never know. Okay, chair remarks. I would like to, we will give Brad and Betty the opportunity to present all of this information. But I do want to thank the members of this board profusely for the many meetings that we had before we even met with staff, so that we could gather together our ideas for the future and make sure that we kept our expenditures in line. So I would like to thank all of the board members, and then I would like to thank staff especially Ernesto, for putting up with us, and Betty and Brad for working with us. So we did a great job. Betty was amazed at how prepared we were. And this will give us greater ownership to work to the future. So I thank you all. At this point, we would have member comments. And do we have any members who would like to make a comment? Okay, and please remember, as a member, you are allowed to come up and comment once during the term of the meeting, not continually.
Well,
Not saying that you, Bert.
Bert
excuse me,
Moldow.
I'm not trying to say that.
3503A, but you want I just noticed that there are no provisions for people to comment after the fact on any of the items that are there or are missing from the program. And I would think that there would be a provision where I could get up when, maybe perhaps at the end, to comment. Not now, but later.
Well, if anyone has any comments, I am sure that we will give them the opportunity to give their comment, but being that you already made your comment for today, we'll have to vote especially to allow you to comment again.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have the member comments, and thank you very much. And really, before we start, I would like to remind the people who are watching that we are still accepting applications to run for the board. And this is a very rewarding experience. And if you have an inclination to do so, please go up to the executive office and get an application. And we have a team of people who are willing and able to help you if you have any concerns with the paperwork. So, thank you.
August, the deadline is August 15th.
Yes.
So a few more days, please.
Thank you. Okay, so who's going to go? Brad or Betty?
This
Okay.
is my baby. Thank you.
Well,
It's your baby, really.
only adopted. Thank you.
Honorable Madam President, members of the board, Third Community, it's always a pleasure to chat with you about what we're up to here as a community and the kind of activities and programs we want to share with you. Before I go through this, and I did want to thank particularly this board. You have worked so hard, and your policy guidance has been so clear that it has been quite easy to put this together. You've had really significant policy debates over which programs should be funded and at what level, and you've come to a consensus. And I can tell you the body of work that you've outlined in this budget is significant. And it really pinpoints all of the areas where historically there's been some deferred maintenance and deficiencies, and it really provides, I think, a very robust program that is balanced and will serve this community well for years to come. So I do applaud you. Also, I'd like to thank staff. I know certainly Betty and her team, and Ernesto, Bruce, others are the primary folks that you deal with on your budget. And I know they've been very responsive and worked well with you and with I as well. So very pleased with that effort. And then, of course, the number of residents and advisors participate as well through the many, many meetings we have. And I see Lynn here. I know she's a big part of, I think, our success with the garden villas. The communication and the need is pretty clear. And she helps with the board in terms of prioritizing various programs and projects. And I think that has been very successful as well. So with that, and I thought prior to talking about what we'd like to do next year, maybe we ought to just share a little bit about what we're doing this year. And so with the help of Steve and Rosemary, I put together some slides here. And I'll just, this is sort of what I'm going to talk about, but I have slides for each of these. There's so many things that you've worked on. I'm sure we've left off somebody's special project that they individually contributed a lot to, and I apologize for that. There's just, you're doing so much, it's hard to talk about it all, or we'd be here a very long time. But I wanted to hit a couple of these things. Again, these are a number of projects and programs, but I think the pictures do better justice to this. For next year, we've anticipated a lot of slope improvements, but we're not waiting. We've done some this year. And so there's this project, which is at Gate 9 that we completed, but we're also in the midst of a major slope program as well that this board has funded. And I anticipate in the next, I think they're starting August 16th. And so you will see, starting off really along the western edge of the community, as we cut a pretty big fire break in there to protect the community, and that's an order of the fire authority, but it needs to be done anyway. And then there's other slope work as well along El Toro in the community that will occur as well to reduce the height of the vegetation that's there, remove vegetation that shouldn't be there, and then also to raise the height of the tree canopy so they're not so close to the ground. So all those things mainly designed for fire mitigation, but will certainly look a lot better as well.
So, excuse me, Brad, so our focus, just to be clear, is slope cleanup,
Yes.
because we would be very remiss in our responsibility if we were doing slope planting at this particular point with the water shortages.
Right. Well, we
So-
planted this piece here just because it was
Right,
bare.
yeah, but
It was
not-
barren.
But not major,
Right.
because you're really focusing on cleanup.
Clean up and really reducing the amount of fuel on these slopes. And then this is sort of the one shot, it's a large area of the sort of fuel fire modification area where we'll be reducing and lowering a lot of this vegetation to protect the community. A lot of that. Here's another, and the pictures are even more dramatic now. These were taken a week or so, or a few days ago anyway. But you can see that this is along Ridge Route where over behind the commercial businesses there where there's quite a little forest. And it's a very long forest, and it provides harborage for folks. We don't really want camping out on the edge of our community, and so this has been an attractive nuisance for the homeless and vagrants and other ne'er-do-wells. And so we're cleaning this all out and then putting in the shepherd's crooks. So I think it's going to be a big security enhancements for the community, and the crews over there are working very, very well. My anticipation is it'll probably be these same folks who are working here. They're going to go over and do the fuel modification area on the western edge of Third, and I hope so, because this is a hard-working crew right here. I don't know if you've been over there. It's near Roy. They're, whew.
I hear them every morning.
Yeah, they're really moving through that quick. I'm very happy with that production. Again, there's so many of these. Again, probably one of the bigger complaints I hear about is low-level lighting and walkways and things, and so we've done a lot of work there. There's a lot more to do, and you've put some of that in next year's budget as well. So I think that's just something that we'll be working on for a while. Sometimes the improvements are easy to do. Sometimes they're not. There's no electricity there, and so you're struggling with the challenges of that. But everybody knows that that's a huge issue, and we're working on it, and I applaud the board for tackling that, because it's not an easy one. These signs are great. You know, Ernesto was here to M&C hold.
The entry gates, which is so important.
It's coming.
Oh, I was following the list. Okay, thank you. All right, good.
Ernesto held up the old signs and the new signs at the M&C meeting. You can really see the difference, and when you drive around and you see one of these new signs, you can actually find a building that has a new sign on it. And so this is a program, it'll probably take a while to get this done, but I think the board's taken an appropriate approach to that, and we're getting these put up, and I think it's going to help a lot. You know, we did a few of these as a pilot project. And I think you've got another 20 or so slated in your budget. So we've got these little waste areas. They don't hold landscaping very well because they don't really get the right kind of sun. They're in between two structures. And so to add an extra golf cart parking space there was a pretty reasonable and I think a good approach to this. So we did a couple. We're going to do some more. Probably the biggest issue you have really to deal with, there are others, but these major beam replacements for the dry rot program, and this actually isn't really one of the bigger ones. I've seen some that are a lot bigger, and but you can see how much work it takes to remove a big beam and put another one in. You've been tackling this program very aggressively. There's still a bit of work left to do. It'll probably be several years before we get to the bottom of this. But you've made some wonderful investments, and we're continuing that as well. Here, this is kind of the smaller level dry rot, but which can lead to some of those bigger problems by some of these corbels that stick out that are made of wood, basically act as a straw to draw moisture into the interior of the structure and to cause problems with the larger structural components. And so by eliminating those and sealing them off, it's kind of a preventative way. And our prior to paint folks are doing a number of these sorts of things with some of these wooden architectural features, and I'm sure they were very interesting when they first put them in, but they didn't really understand the travel path of some of the dry rot organisms that are causing problems for us. Get another kind of example here with a rotten bridge that had to be replaced. And then probably one of your other really big programs is the waistline remediation, epoxy lining, and so we take the existing pipe and line it with this coating, and it really creates a new, very slick pipe that is far less prone to any kind of blockage or backup. And so we've found this to be very effective. It's expensive. It's not a cheap thing to do, but it's a heck of a lot less expensive than ripping up the infrastructure in your community and replacing it with a brand new pipe. And so this has proven to be pretty effective.
So the picture on the left is a waistline with roots and things in it?
Yes.
And then this is the one on the right?
Right
after
is
they
the-
put a new, bored it out and put a new sleeve in.
Yep, they've coated that with the epoxy.
So they clean it out, they don't just put the epoxy over.
Right, they clean it out and they run the epoxy down there and to create a firm and slick surface that will move material faster without likelihood of stoppage. So, yeah.
I think it's important to note that they cleaned it out because people who might not be into pipes.
No,
might
that's not
just think
still in
that- then the pipe, so you, what did you call it? When-
You could use Roto-Rooter it out. or
Okay,
bore it
whatever,
out or
you bore
whatever
it
you
out,
want.
thank
Yeah.
you. Bore it out, okay.
And then, you know, we tried this as a pilot program, and I think both aesthetically, in terms of how water is handled on these surfaces, as well as the maintenance, that it's a big improvement in so many ways. I know we've got some more of these budgeted for next year. It's not an easy, this looks like, oh, they just painted the floor. No, it's quite a bit more complicated than that. There are drainage issues, and you've got some lightweight concrete. You're filling up some recessed areas, and then creating some barriers to prevent moisture from getting into these buildings, so you don't get more dry rot than you already have. So when you factor all that together, I think it's a worthwhile endeavor, and I know you're considering, you're doing, more of those are in the budget. And then just on the Garden Villas, we've really stepped up our effort there, and applaud Ernesto and certainly Velney and some of his staff, Patrick, who've taken this challenge on, that we're going to fix these things up. And so the board's allocated resources, and staff has worked aggressively, and these are the elevators, but there are many more. Been doing a lot of these mail rooms. I don't know if we have any we don't have any lobbies in here, but we've done a lot of lobbies. We've got a lot of these rec rooms. I know there's a whole program of activity for next year that, God, there must be 100 items on that list. You guys all saw it. It was a big list that Velney, is that this year? Okay. And so, well, we'll do more next year too. I'm sure there'll be another list of 100 items. So it's, a lot of this, again, has kind of been kicked down the road for a long time. It's just time to clean it up. And so your board has authorized the resources, and we're working on that. I wanted to throw a couple of other things in here. Some of these things don't take a very good picture. But I know Bert and his committee have been working so hard for so long on looking at our operating rules, whether it be for caregivers or occupancy or leasing or sales, I mean, everything, you name it. They've been working on it, and they've made a lot of good changes to the operating rules that serve to secure our community and to make it a safer and a more regulated environment, which our residents expect. And so I would feel remiss if we didn't talk about that body of work.
We always have to stress that we did not add operating rules. But what we
Fix the ones
tried
we
to
had.
do was fix, modernize, and simplify the ones that we had to make them be part of the life in this century versus when the community was built. Because some of the operating rules are really very, very old.
Yeah. I think the next one, alteration standards, is the same way. The architectural committee has been going pretty hard, and I praise Kurt for his work with that committee. I think that we've taken a lot of these old alteration standards and updated them and made it easier for residents to understand and process alteration requests. And so I think I would applaud that committee as well. And then generally...
Excuse me, Bill had something he wanted to say.
Well, you went fast over all of the wonderful things that staff has been improving, like the Garden Villa buildings and everything. I also want to point out that this board removed a significant amount of red curbing to improve parking in the cul-de-sacs. And Ernesto and Bruce Hartley, in combination, have done a marvelous job in catching up with all of the backlog, all of the concrete work in the walk, in the sidewalks and the what do you call those? The approaches, the apron, and approaches, the aprons,
right.
approaches. And it really makes a significant difference. Just walking around here like I do, I don't know about the other board members, I'm sure they do too. I see a big improvement, and we really want to thank you for that.
No, that's probably one of the biggest success stories I think we have is the concrete crews and the work that they've been able to complete with some new leadership and supervision. They've really done quite well. And I think that is where, I had it on my front slide, I really should hit that again, is, we created, somewhere around 700 spaces of parking through our, resetting our red curbs and eliminating red curbs where they're not required or needed. Have we had to add 3 or 4 back in? Sure, we have. I mean, there's been places where we took them out, and then we went back and looked and said, ooh, that's not a good one. But still, 700 parking spaces isn't really something...
750.
750, there you go, isn't something to sneeze about when you have such parking challenges like we have in the community. And I suspect that will be something we'll be working on forever. It's just a shortcoming of the development itself. In this environment, there's not enough parking spaces. And then, we have these operating rules, we're making them easier to understand and better, but at the end of the day, you have to enforce those, and the board has to be willing to enforce them, and you have been. And you've directed us to step up our effort, and I think mostly we have. There's certainly always room for improvement, but we've gone from, and this isn't just Third, this is community-wide, but about 1,400 cases in 2015. This year, we'll probably do 5,000. And so that's a pretty big increase in compliance cases. Probably 95 or better % of those are just resolved with a letter or a warning citation. You see, unfortunately, the worst of the worst. These are the people that, despite letters from staff and visits from security, sometimes even visits from Tim himself, they won't do it. And so it requires the authority of your board to enforce those rules sometimes. And we know that really takes an extra day or two a month of your time. Steve, thank you for sharing that, to sit in there and to hear these very difficult cases. Again, if they were easy, we would have already taken care of them. So I do applaud that extra effort. I know many of you serve on that committee.
You know, it's interesting, you say about 5,000 cases, and you think that there are 5,000 cases, there are 11,000 or 12,000 homes. Does that mean every other home has a case? No.
No.
No. It's,
No.
you know, maybe it's like the same, lots of times it's the same same unit that has one violation, two violations, three violations, which, thanks to staff, is so hurtful to their neighbors, you know, because they're just doing whatever they want. So that's what a lot of the work is trying to get the constant, I don't care about any rules, I don't care about my neighbors into line so that this is
We do
nicer.
know most of these people that come in on a very personal level. Repeated visits. And I would like to say that we have, 20 people out there hunting down every violation, but that's not really the case. Most of these cases come to us by the neighbor or somebody who's been affected by maybe somebody having a dog off leash or whatever it is. They're either a victim of some sort that has contacted us and said, hey, this isn't right, and so then we take it from there.
The building captains have helped a lot.
Absolutely. And then the other thing that I think where we've stepped it up, and I know Rosemary, you and Steve have been instrumental in this, and probably Wei Ming before that, but we've just tried to take a more aggressive approach towards collecting amounts that are due, that are unpaid. Almost all of we have a very, very high collection rate here. Our residents pay their dues. They're very good about it. And then you have a few that don't. And then for those folks, they need to pay their fair share as well. And this board has been very good about enforcing that. And I think that the results are in the collections numbers themselves. We're collecting a lot of money that we weren't collecting before. And then this probably requires a lot more discussion than I can give it here. And I've been involved in many of these before, and I think it's going to be so good for the community. But acquiring these streetlights from Edison, converting them to LED, providing better maintenance of them is going to be a huge, huge benefit from the community. And I don't think, even with, you got an acquisition cost and you've got the rehab costs, and it's well worth it. Again, I've done a lot of these, and your residents are really gonna appreciate this. Edison has, they must have 1 million streetlights, probably a couple million, and the fact that 20 or 30 of them are out in Third, it doesn't really bother them too much. But for me, if a resident calls and says, hey, the streetlight's out in front of my house, if we own them, I'm going to get somebody over there that day and get it fixed. So that's the difference. And then also having a brighter, more energy efficient LED fixture will save money in terms of how much you're spending on energy as well. So it's just a win-win.
And I think one of the themes that's run through this and with this board is safety. All of these things most of these things are focused on making this a safer place to be. And And from address signs to lighting to fixing sidewalks, all of that.
Yes.
It's all part of that.
You
And
know,
then-
excuse me, Brett, in the past, I'm going to talk about maybe 3 or 4 years ago, a street light, getting it repaired could have taken months. We know that, months, years. And I know that our staff, under the leadership of Ernesto, has been much more aggressive, but they really have to spend so much time chasing them to try to get it done. And so it was just, okay, well, it takes years or months, that's how it is. And we've been trying to be much better, but the new approach is going to be magnificent, especially to upgrade them in the areas where they really need to be upgraded. That's a great thing.
And then I did want to touch on, though really a GRF project, the mutuals have pushed very hard on the gate security issue. And I know it came up because we had discussed the merger of a couple of gates, and so that didn't pan out for us for so many different reasons, very complicated reasons too, that we're putting Gate 10 back into an individual design mode, and we'll have that ready to go as well. So I wanted you to have that information, and we anticipate, I think we're at the city right now for approval on the various designs. I mean, it's basically 9 different designs now. So it's more complex than you would think, and particularly, we had the problem at Gate 6, and I think at Gate 4, where there was no legal electric service there. It was just bootleg, and, well, there's the pole right there. Just get some power. And so we have to go back and establish legitimate electrical service at those gates, and we've done that. And so that's just part of the process, is kind of correcting some of the self-help projects of the past. And I think you're going to be very, very happy, not only with the security of folks coming in and out, but we can use the data to determine, how long people are staying here, if there's, folks that are coming in but not leaving, and they only have a 1-day pass. I mean, we can figure that out through it'll take a little work, but I mean, the data is all there. We just have to mine it, and we can really aid our compliance efforts as well. So I think there's a lot of things to like about that.
Brad, I think a lot of residents have been asking about the timing of this. So when do you envision this will be done?
Ernesto, you want to get that?
Yeah, Madam Chair, Madam President. Yeah, we're on. I'm just talking softly. We already submitted to the city. It's hard to tell what the conditions that are going to come back from the city are. I don't anticipate very much. So once we get that, we finalize the drawings and we complete the package ready to advertise it. We're looking at a couple months to advertise and vet the contractors to get on board and all of that. So I'm anticipating, I was hoping to get it done this year. We may spill into next year a little bit, but definitely get the project started this year. So November, around November, December.
Yeah, the vendor has already been selected. The only thing that really has to be constructed is the conduits and the various elements, and then California Gates will use those conduits to put in the technology and the gates that have been specced. So I think that's going to be a great project, and I look forward to getting that done.
So how many, because you have taken us away from spending over $1 million per gatehouse, which had been done in the past, and imagine how many millions that would have been if we did all of the gatehouses. And you have gone through a program working with Ernesto where you are refurbishing, updating, whatever terminology we want to use, the gatehouses. Are they all done?
They are, the last one is Gatehouse 4, and so that's underway right now.
Yeah, that is correct. We just completed Gate 12. And these are the gatehouses.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, so they're all refurbished. We're just working on 4, which is essentially a small shack. So that should go very quickly. The only delay on Gate 4 will be the Edison bringing the power. Right now, we're still in it from, yeah, but.
Somebody's
so
house.
Somebody's house. So we're correcting that. So that's completed. Actually, that was within budget. And then the work on the gates themselves, that is, the civil portion won't be as costly as Gate 5. I guess 5 was a big learning experience for us. So now we're doing it right. We're going to bring things within a lot less cost than Gate 5, than what we experienced at Gate 5.
So how many gatehouses are there altogether?
Gate-
14, how many
That's
gatehouses?
gatehouses.
The houses?
Yeah,
5.
no.
No, you're talking about the
In the
gates?
entire community, how many gatehouses do we have?
You've got,
There must be
think
one at
it's the-
every gate.
I think there's 11.
right,
Yeah,
so-
everyone except for 16.
So basically, what I'm saying is you were looking at a price tag at the rate we were going of over $11 million. Because we know how much, and how much are you spending per gate?
It's not going to be anywhere near
No,
that.
no, I said.
No,
we were-
these are 25,000 a pop. It's a
No,
couple
no,
$100,000.
So what I'm saying is
Yeah.
that was a very, that was a, sometimes, and I bring this up sincerely because being out in the community, I sometimes hear grumblings about, well, things used to be better, et cetera. And I keep saying, well, you really have to understand where we were, what path we were going on. And just things would have constantly gone up and we weren't getting stuff done. And I bring that up as one of our primary things. I'm not talking about the gates, because that's a cost that we would have had to spend. But if we kept doing the gates like, what is the gate across from Gate 14? I always blot. Gate 7.
Oh, that
I
was a $1
keep-
million gate there,
Yeah,
clearly.
for sure. And I keep thinking, and every time I drive over that bump, I want to put the bottom of my car gets bumped out.
We're taking
but-
that out.
The bump
Yeah,
is
I know.
gone.
It's gonna be, but I just want to refer to it because we could have, without all of the work and care, and said, I'm not spending this kind of money, this would have been money that we would have spent unnecessarily. And it's very important that we have to remember that although we're not perfect, we're really trying to make better decisions. Thank you.
So that's kind of some of the things that the third board's been up to, and it's been a very, very busy year, and I think next year will be busier. When I go through this work program, you guys all know because you've been working on it, but it will be readily apparent. These are sort of the scheduled public meetings that we had for the budget process, and again, there are so many meetings of a member or two that were more private to discuss various elements that aren't even on here. So, I mean, I know there's been many, many meetings, and this board has worked very, very hard to put together a work plan that will serve the community. So, when you're putting these things together, you kind of want to, there's a lot of requests from residents, from staff, from other board members on what they think you ought to do for next year. So you have to put them through some sort of prism to get to what's really important. And so these are sort of, I think, the principles that and the programs that the board is really focused on. And obviously, security is the highest priority here, and you can see that with the fire mitigation, with the Shepherd's Crooks, with the street lights. I mean, it really permeates just about everything we do here with all of the work that Bert and his committee has done on compliance and operating rules. It all deals with security. This board has put a huge premium on communication, and we've made great strides. There's much more work to be done, and I certainly, having Eileen here has been a big help in that regard, and I anticipate much more from her. Landscape, again, huge issue for us for so many different reasons, but a lot of having to do with really some of the techniques and priorities of the past, the huge edge trimmings with chemicals so that the mowers can move faster and faster and faster. And so, some of those techniques just have to be changed. We have a new kind of grass that we're dealing with now. You've got a new kind of water you're going to have to deal with, which has its own impacts to the lawn. And this turf has to be managed now. It just can't be mowed. And so it's a total different approach to this, and we've talked about it a lot, and we'll talk about it some more, and I anticipate pretty big improvements in that. Again, our property, our houses, our manors, in many cases, they're suffering from years and years, if not decades, of deferred maintenance. Some of the things we're doing have never been done before. like some of the chute work. I mean, when's that been done? The waste lines, the chutes, dry rot, there's just things that just were never, some problems can seem too big to take on. And this board has not had that problem. I think you've said the bigger the problem, the bigger the effort. I mean, that's the way it works. And so I think at times, I think boards have shied away from some of those more entrenched, difficult problems, and you have not done that. As I talked about earlier, collections and making sure that everyone's paying their fair share and that we're billing everyone who owes the mutual money, and not making judgments on, well, this is that, or it's too small to try to collect. We just treat everybody the same, and if they owe, they owe. And that's what we've done.
One of our efforts, because it's very difficult for us to sit in a meeting and be trying to pull Betty's hair out about why hasn't that person paid for their water heater? You know, and so part of our collections, because we don't only refer to assessment collections, it's everything. So we're really going to, I know, be moving next year into the ability, you know, maybe somebody is not paying, not because they don't want to pay, but maybe they might be short that month or that time when they get the bill. So we're working on using credit cards, and that's so that maybe someday in the real world, somebody could come to your house and say they're getting their water heater, and they could actually put it on their credit card. You know, so we're
Yes.
working towards that, to try to make it less work for accounting, less work for the Steves and the finance people from our boards, but brings us into life today. You know,
And that world is approaching very rapidly.
the land of plastic. So we're going to join that land, I guess, if people want to. They don't have to. So that's a great effort that will be coming up next year. Thank you.
And then we're working on so many different efficiency initiatives, whether it be, you know, replacing building lights with LEDs, street lights with LEDs, or just processing things more efficiently, handling, though the reason for it is maybe not so nice, but, you know, changing out something simple like changing out the boxes in the laundry room so you only have 5 or 6 keys instead of 150 keys to all those. We've reduced a whole day, I think, out of the collections process. Thumbing around on 150 keys is a little bit of work. Having, a handful is quite easier. So little things like that, and big things, like some work centers are paperless now. And so we can, we want to spread that out to the whole organization. One of the things I know it's very important to your board is the sales and leasing process. And one of the challenges there is that there are about 20 work centers that feed in to sales and leasing, whether it be, compliance or inspections, or you can see where the connection points are in that process, membership. And so those systems kind of have to be fixed first. And so that's been what we're doing, is going around and getting the periphery, and then you can plug all that into an automated sales and leasing process, which is the plan. So I didn't want you to think I don't want you to think this is something that's been ignored. It's very thoughtful, but there's just so many different elements that go into that. It's probably the most complicated thing we do here. It has, there's like 900 steps in trying to, we ought to get rid of about 500 of them, in my opinion, but maybe more. So anyway, that fits into the technology, and there's a lot we're doing there as well. So when we try to analyze, does it make sense to do a particular activity, and we kind of put it against this prism and ultimately against the prism of customer service. Well, the resident actually benefit from all this stuff that we're doing, and that's the bottom line, and that's probably the most important thing.
And thank you, because while you were, and I know we worked on this list, but we knew that this list, as we were talking, we would think of things, because other things that are part of our continuous improvement is resident services. And you touched on that, and changes that have been made in resident services in the past, that we have service on Sundays, we have plumbers on the weekend, my goodness. And we have resident services doesn't close on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving and reopen on Monday. That we realize more and more that this is a 7-day-a-week, 24-hour-a-day senior community. And so I know that you're working on resident services continually, and we're always very impatient. And also, you have a very well put together, and Siobhan did a fabulous outline of the responsibilities of, you don't call it an MOD, what do you call it? Hey.
Executive on duty.
Executive on duty program. So in the past, everything went through security, and now with the changes, and that's our continuous improvement with the changes, you always have an executive on duty who can't be in China when it's their time to be on duty. And so you've outlined it very well, and we thank you, Siobhan. But those are all things that are part of our budget too, and part of our continuous improvement commitment to the community. So if there's anything that I missed,
I'm sure there's a million things, we're doing so much, but you're right. Having a resident services function that is available 24/7, 365. Right now, security dispatch kind of serves that role, but they're not really trained for it. The idea of moving security dispatch into this building alongside resident services and making sure that they're fully trained in all the resident services function as well as emergency services so that they can serve in that capacity at 3 in the morning. When somebody calls and says, gee, I got this problem or that problem, and they're able to handle it properly. So, again, I think I've talked about most of this. Maybe the budget highlights here.
well, no, you didn't talk about the projects.
Yeah, well, continuing for next year, we're going to continue the 2018 projects. I think I've talked to, well, I didn't talk about the energy consultant, but we've retained one village-wide. There's a lot of very interesting technology out there and ways we can do things, everything from emergency generators to microgrids to acquiring energy independent of Edison. I mean, production of energy. There's so many things we can do, and the consultant's going to look at all those and probably more and come back with some ideas for us to become more independent and self-sufficient and not so much under the thumb of Edison.
And we're also being forced to look at our electric infrastructure because more and more people are coming into the community wanting to have electric automobiles or electric hybrids. So, and our electric infrastructure is being stressed right now just by electric golf carts in many places. So, by adding electric vehicles onto the top of it, we've got some challenges.
I had a guy come into my office the other day, he had just bought a Tesla, and he was so proud. Buying a green vehicle and bringing it into the community, and came in and got all his appropriate stickers, registered the vehicle, got the charging sticker, took it to his carport and plugged it in, and kabooey. Yeah, yep. And so, we had to tell him, well, your charging time is probably from 2 to 4 in the morning. I don't know, but we just don't. That's a big priority, and you're seeing more and more electric vehicles out there, and there's so many different offerings now. I just saw an X5 plug-in, a vehicle I never thought would be electric, and here you go. There it is. So they're out there, they're coming, and we need to get prepared. And I think we have some good options, at least for interim solutions. But I think the long-term solution is we've got to have a little better infrastructure on the electric side, so we're going to have to address that. Anyway, on to budget here. I just these are the highlights here, is that based on this proposal, I'll be showing you the assessments are scheduled to increase basically $453 a month, which is a 1% increase. Again, why are things going up? Well, there's a lot of reasons why, and I listed a few here. There's inflation. Things cost more that we have to buy to provide service to the residents. Last month in Orange County, the CPI was 4.1%. And so we're starting to see, as this economy is heated up, you're starting to get some inflationary pressures as well. And so I'm sure they'll be doing things about that. You know, water, sewer, and electric rates, they just go up. You know, I've run, utilities before, and we never come in and say, you know what? We collected a little bit too much. Let's drop those rates. Never happened, never seen it happen, it doesn't happen. If it does happen, it means there's something coming around the backside that they're trying to sneak by you. So those go up, and I think we've done a pretty good job. Certainly with the solar project, we put pressure down there. I know we watch our water use very carefully, and things still go up. But residents can certainly help us by not overusing water, because that is a mutual expense. So if you're taking a half an hour shower, well, that's costing money, or excessive watering out in the landscape, and that can happen as well. So we just ask residents to help us out. This next one is the illegal.
Excuse me, Brett, we are, if you have the if we know that a water meter is attached to a unit or a number of units, and the water usage is very high, working with Eileen, we advise the residents, unfortunately, because of our CC&Rs, et cetera, you can't penalize a resident for using excessive water, but I don't believe you can. But we can keep reminding them of, it's really their responsibility to the community, because sometimes you see people outside watering their collection of 50, how many plants, and it's like, oh my goodness. So here some people are racing in and taking cold showers to save water. For 1 minute. And we said we have to just be so aware, because we are spending quite a bit more on water because of usage. Is that correct, Betty? Yeah, so we really have to watch our usage. It has to be a tremendous joint commitment and effort on the part of our residents, because we all share in that cost. Yes, James?
Well, I don't know when was the time, Betty, to talk about this water budget.
When she gets up to it.
We'll come to that point later?
Yes.
Okay, well, I will discuss that later then. But in our effort, I guess we, on the irrigation side, we're hoping next year what things we do. We did put some budget out for turf reduction. Hopefully, once we start that, and then we'll reduce the water usage on the irrigation side. But that, Brad, we need your help to reach a new agreement with union, so we can contract more work out to get those extra contracting work for maybe turf reduction or other landscape projects.
No, I agree. I hope that we'll focus on areas where grass just doesn't grow well. If you've got 2 giant ficus trees in front of your manor, you're not going to get grass. You got to pick. And so in those areas, we need to put something else in, because, we keep seeding it and watering the heck out of it, and it's just not going to grow there.
Yeah.
And so we should survey the community. I've talked to Bruce about this. Come up with those areas where we just know grass fails, and not give it up, and put something in that won't fail and that doesn't use much water. And so I think
Right.
I think it's easy to do.
Also yesterday, from the El Toro Water quarterly luncheon, they re-emphasized that this turf reduction rebate is still available. In fact, it's $2 per square foot for homeowners, $1 per square foot for commercial. I don't know whether our HOA is considered to be commercial or homeowner, but
We're
anyway.
typically treated commercially.
So,
Yeah.
but anyways, at least $1 per square foot. So we should catch that opportunity before they're running out of money.
Good. Of course, and then the other area where residents could probably help us out is, we have 2 full-time guys driving around in a truck, picking up all of the items by the dumpster that are illegally disposed of. Typically, TVs, microwaves, mattresses, furniture, construction materials, other stuff that really don't belong in the dumpster, but they don't belong outside the dumpster for sure. And so we ask that you stop doing that, and that we're talking 40 cubic yards a day right now is what we're, now if I had 4 guys doing it instead of 2, it'd probably be 80. So just so you know, there's a lot of material out there. And so we ask residents, if you have bulky items in your home you want to dispose of, call Resident Services. We'll send somebody to pick it out right from your manor. You don't have to drag it down and throw it next to the dumper. We'll come get it right out of your house.
The wheel is really not us, isn't it?
It's free. Yeah, it's a free service.
So instead of people calling Resident Services where we can get a free service of our trash company going to their house and picking it up, people instead decide to drag their stuff out and leave it in front of the dumpster, and the trash company won't pick that up.
And we have to pay for
So
it.
we have to pay for it. And if we, and we talked about this, if we said, well, we're just not going to pick it up because we can't afford to have 2 people racing around, I thought it was only 1.5, racing around picking stuff up all day, then we do a disservice to our community because it looks so junky. You know what it's like if in front of your there's a chair, there are lamps. I mean, and it just looks really, we're sort of like, so what do you do? You know, so we have a responsibility to the appearance of the community. And that is something that is totally in the hands of our residents.
It's a new service we added this year,
totally-
too. We never used to do that, but it's gotten so bad that I can't leave it there anymore.
Yes, Jules?
I think Bunny was first.
Oh, well,
Sorry.
Well, I recently called the resident service to pick up a recliner. They told me that I had to take it down and put it in the trash area. And then they forgot that I scheduled it because they were supposed to pick up every Wednesday, and they never picked it up.
Well, that's not a good story.
No.
The proper
So,
response
but
there-
The issue is that resident services told me when I went there, when I called them, that I was the one that had to take all that furniture, down to the
No.
trash area.
then you should have called Brad.
Yeah.
That's
That-
what I say.
Yeah, have any of you ever had the in-home pickup before? Has anybody ever had in-home you have, Steve? Yeah, Waste Management,
Yeah, I called Waste Management
right.
after I removed something.
Well, that's what our folks do here. If you call Resident Services,
Sure.
they'll coordinate and they'll call Waste Management for you to make sure they get there and get back to you with the time.
So, and if they don't, if unfortunately, something is always so good as all of its component parts, and occasionally an employee might be misinformed. If somebody gets the wrong answer, what should they do? I always laugh and say, call Brad. but-
Call me, yeah, that's what you do.
So if a resident were to
Or-
call,
Really?
they could either call, they should call Catherine, they should call our next line of service. I mean, if you
Right.
know that you're getting the wrong answer, I mean, don't accept the wrong answer.
And then lastly, oh, sorry.
Just a note, why don't we simply put signs at the dumpsters?
And many of them have signs right on the dumpster that says, don't do this and don't do that.
No, I'm talking about just calling for a bulk pickup.
Right.
It would just save maybe a couple.
Well, we still do the third Saturday, so a lot of people,
We have those posted, and the Garden Villas, that sign is posted in all of the laundry rooms. So to remind people of the day of the pickup. I do think that that's something that needs a constant reminder, because I always forget which Saturday it is. So I think that people need a constant reminder as to that, or how to call resident services and what the right answer has to be, because it could help us. Yes, Steve?
I think something else that needs to happen with this, I like Jules' idea. But we need some things made in foreign languages for our major foreign groups, because there's people here that basically know how to say hi, goodbye, and that's about it. And you'll see them taking paint out to the dumpster and just leaving it. They have no clue how to dispose of it, hazardous waste or anything like that. And we've got to reach those folks somehow.
Got that, Siobhan?
I agree. And then lastly, as I talked about, we have a lot of compliance cases. They're expensive to process. And, you know, it may take thousands of dollars to process a compliance case, yet, you know, the fine's maybe $500 or something. And so it's not a moneymaker for us, it is a money loser. And so we really don't want to prosecute these cases. We just want folks to comply. And if they do that, then it will save a lot of money for the community. So I offer that as well.
But, you know, a number of the compliance things are having to do with illegal construction. And that is something that is very important to the community, because people could be going in and working without permits, removing beams, you've had a lot of situations with that. So, you know,
Yep.
compliance is something that has to be done to really protect the residents. We've had asbestos scares because people aren't doing it. So it's really trying to take care of the community.
Well, yeah, it is, but we're spending, you know, probably close to $1 million a year that if people followed the rules, we wouldn't need. Just like we're spending a couple $100,000 or $125,000 on this illegal dumping that we probably, and that's getting a break from Waste Management on emptying the 40 cubic yards too. So it'd be really another $100,000 on top of that if we were paying the full boat. So, yeah, the residents can help in many ways, as we've articulated here, to keep the assessments down. I was going to go through maybe I just go through the numbers pretty quickly, and then if you want detail, you can ask Betty on that. So I just want to share the staffing levels. You can see 764 staff in 2010, and with the 14 I've suggested this year at 741. So, I mean, that's generally in the range of what you would expect. And then of the 14 positions, where were they added? Almost, other than the two I've got here, which really are people that are already here, one of them being Eileen, and the other is Whitney, our Assistant Corporate Secretary. They've been here a long time. Those were positions that I basically swiped from other departments, and now the department heads have asked that I give them back. And so I'm keeping the people, but I'm going to give new positions to them, essentially. And then you can see resident services, landscape, and security are the areas that we're adding staff for the most part. And then here's the computation of your basic assessment here with the increase of 453 for Third Mutual, 426 for GRF, for a total of 879. Again, your increase is about 1%. And then this shows you a little history here. You can see assessments have been pretty flat. And actually, when you throw the GRF assessment on top of that, it gets even flatter. It's over the last 5 years, it's been 1% total. Assessment growth in Third Mutual for the last 5 years, 1% in total. Not 1% a year, 1%. So residents have not been paying more. And you know what? They're getting a lot more, because you're insisting that we do more and perform better. And I know residents appreciate that, but they worry that we're overspending. And that is so far from the truth. You're not overspending. Assessments have been kept down. And in fact, look at your reserves. They're higher. I mean, that's the beauty of efficiency and doing it together and working hard, is we're getting a lot of stuff done. Assessments are flat, 5 years, and you've got more in your reserves. And you've incurred a lot of extra cost as well, that things like earthquake insurance that we never had here before, that you've recently procured. So things like that are now taking place within amounts of money that we used to spend to not get much done. So,
Like fixing the sidewalks.
fixing sidewalks,
Which could never
fixing
been done.
garden villas, dry rot, waste lines, you can go on and on. Adding a giant solar installation that's saving residents money every day. All those things are happening with the same assessment you used to charge and at the same time building your reserves up. I don't know, that's a pretty good formula for me. So this is rather difficult to read slide, which I'm going to change for next year. Sorry, Betty. I just look at the bottom line here. I think that's the important part of this thing is, well, gee whiz, what's the basic assessment? You can see it's gone up a bit. Most of that related to reserve contributions, but over that period of time, it's been not flat, but it certainly hasn't been going up very much. I want to talk about revenues just briefly. I mean, you can see where your non-assessment revenue comes from. Most of it is fees and charges, lease processing fee, laundry, and resale processing fee. And those are the big enchiladas. I suspect this electric golf cart fee and the PEV charging fees are going to grow over time as more and more and more electric vehicles come into the community, assuming that we put the infrastructure in to actually charge them. That's a big assumption at this point, but so quite frankly, non-assessment revenue is a very small portion of your total budget. As you can, I think it, well, I mean, I think it's of a fairly large budget. It's a little over $1 million. So, and then on the expenditure side, you can see that employee compensation and utilities are really the big pieces of your budget. And then here we can talk about individual expenditures by line item. You can see employee compensation has gone down a bit. That's a little bit misleading because things have been moved around a little bit, but we've had fewer people on board than we had a few years ago, and so that would account for giving some raises along the way, but there's fewer people, so it kind of balances out. Expenses related to compensation has been very positive. We had some good things going on there. Again, most of this, you can see your electricity has gone down as a result primarily of the solar and LED installations. That's pretty obvious. Water and sewer are going to be challenges moving forward, and they are currently. Again, not a lot of this is particularly remarkable. I think for the mutual, probably the reserve expenditures are maybe more interesting. You can see your property insurance went up a tad, and that is because of the earthquake insurance that was procured. I think a reasonable, prudent decision of the board in keeping with your fiduciary responsibility to the community. So I think this is probably a little more interesting here, where you get down to actually the nuts and bolts of the services provided to the community. Again, you can see lawn and shrub bed maintenance are pretty important and expensive features of your operating fund. And then most of this is fairly unremarkable. I would note the increase in janitorial service. That is primarily the result of the two guys running around picking up the bulky items are in that line item. And there were certain expenses like some carport cleaning and Garden Villa breezeway that had previously been done by landscape. And we've discontinued that practice. That's now done by janitorial staff, and so those costs are reflected here. We really, during the drought, we weren't watering anything, things weren't growing, and so it seemed prudent to go ahead and take a lot of those landscape resources and apply them to other services that the community wanted. And that probably worked fine until it rained again, and then we got behind the 8 ball really quick because our landscapers were out cleaning carports instead of keeping up on the grass and the shrubs and the trees. So we've discontinued any practice that uses landscapers for anything different than landscaping. I want to make that clear, but that's reflected in this budget item here. Again, most of this is fairly unremarkable in terms of, year-over-year cost. I would note that the mutuals and this board has put more emphasis on a lot of the concrete repair and replacement, and that really goes hand in hand, particularly with your paving program. You take care of those bad sidewalks and curbs and things right before you do the paving, and then when you're done, it's all ready to go. So that's just a best practice in the industry. Ernesto knows that, and that's what he's doing. Here again, not anything too remarkable here. Those are relatively small items here. And then here, it's not that we're not doing these things anymore. A lot of these were moved over to your reserve fund. So you're well aware of that switch. So not a big change there, other than where the money is coming from. And so here you can look if anybody has any questions on these. They're pretty straightforward. You've gone through these numbers. A lot of these service levels are pretty consistent with what we've historically done. I would note there's a little more on the elevator fund and the replacements and repairs basically for 19. And then here you've got a number of reserve programs. I'm trying to think which of these might be of interest. Some of it's consistent. You've added additional funding for exterior lighting of $300,000 over the current year. I think that's remarkable. And then landscape modernization, which is a huge increase from 250 up to over $1 million. And so I think that will allow us to do a number of things, including some of the things that James had talked about as well. Slopes, fire protection, many things.
Drought, whatever.
Yeah, drought tolerant landscaping, conversion, all that. So that's all good stuff that we should do. And then here you've got a little more prior to paint, and here quite a bit more, $400,000. Again, that's reflective of your commitment to addressing dry rot issues for the most part. And then everything else, I think, is not that remarkable, very similar to what we've done this year. Your tree maintenance, that's very cyclical. So some years it might be $1 million, the next year it might be a couple hundred. This just happens to be a little bit of a down year for Third. There's more in United. So it gives you an opportunity to take those resources and apply it to other priorities that you have. And you've done that, and I think you've picked the right areas to address. So with that would conclude the basic presentation, and we would certainly entertain any thoughts or questions that you have, any changes you might want to suggest. Coming out of this meeting, it would be our hope that you would endorse, and again, generally by kind of mutual consent here, that yes, this is what we want to do, or if it's something different than this, we're okay with that too, as long as you all agree and tell us to bring you a resolution at your September meeting. Because we do have very strict timelines for notifying the residents of any changes that might occur, mailing information. All this budget information has to be mailed to each and every resident, as well as, assessment books and all those sorts of things that have to be done. So, again, I would end by just saying thank you again. Your policy direction and your hard work has been very clear, and it has not been difficult to figure out where you're coming from and to put it in a kind of a numeric sort of presentation document that you can consider and vote upon at your September meeting. So again, thank you.
So before we would say that this meeting is adjourned, I can go around. Stay calm, James. I could go, and first the board members get to speak, so stay calm, Bert. So I could go around the table, and if anyone has a comment I mean, you've already made so many comments, not at this meeting, that if you don't have a comment, that certainly does not indicate that you were without comment on many other meetings. So I'm going to start with you, Kush. Any comments?
Not at this time.
Well, it's today or never. No, he made them all already.
Yeah, we've discussed this too, Hal, here. So
Okay.
I'm good with it.
And thank you very much for joining our board. We're very excited to have you with us. Jack?
Thank you.
I am thrilled with the reserve number.
Okay, well, that's great, and we're thrilled that you're feeling better, and now we intend to work you very hard. Okay, Bonnie?
No comment.
All right, thank you always for all you do. John?
Betty, I have just one quick question. There's 5 categories of reserves. The last one is unappropriated. What is what is unappropriated?
If you were a smaller association, in your operating budget, your last line, you'd include a contingency. And you would just have a contingency line item for unexpected things that come up during the year. But because your operations are so large, you actually set aside money into a special fund or savings account for anything that comes up that is of an operating nature that you didn't include in your budget. So it's not related to your reserves. It's for any supplemental funding needed for your operations, and it's only spent at board direction by resolution. If you do a supplemental appropriation for a study or a special expense that you weren't anticipating.
Thank you.
So is there any example of where we've used that in the past year?
Yeah, you've done, well, in the last year, I don't know, but I can think of a time when you had maybe a special litigation issue and that was above and beyond your normal legal fees, and you would appropriate money out of this fund for that. You used it quite a bit for some unexpected drainage issues, and you built a drainage tunnel that wasn't reserved for, so you used some contingency funds for that.
Okay, good question, John. Steve?
Yeah, the only thing that I saw was on slide 38, under solar maintenance, we're dropping from 40,000 to 25,000. Is that going to be readdressed, or are we in a study mode on that?
No, I believe that adequately addresses the operations and maintenance portion of this project. You have a brand-new system. It doesn't really need any work at this point. We'll put funding in the reserve for replacement items, but as far as your operations, that's all you really need to keep the system.
Does that include cleaning also?
That's the cleaning, yeah.
And if for some reason we had to clean it and we were advised to clean it, I'm sure we would figure it out. Yeah. That would be an example of going to Betty and saying, we need the money. Okay, thank you very much, Ernesto. Thank you, Steve. Okay, James.
Wow,
Go ahead.
finally get to my turn. Well, since I'm on the Water Conservation Committee, so I said, well, sooner or later, I need to understand just exactly how Betty put together the water budget for each year. So I asked Betty to explain to me, and same thing is, all the board directors are deserved to understand. So I asked them to give everyone this sheet, the formula, how she calculates. So Betty, could you explain how you come up with the water budget? Then we can discuss whether we need to change that or not.
Sure. We look at historical averages for usage. That's our starting point because, as you know, you're significantly impacted by changes in weather. And no matter whether we guess if it's going to be a wet year or a dry year, it's going to change from our assumption. And so we look back several years. This budget's built on 2014 through 2017 actuals and then year-to-date in 2018. So almost a 5-year history because we want to, average out those fluctuations that impact your irrigation usage. So we are using an average there to determine your 100 cubic feet of usage, and that's about 632,000 that we're projecting in the budget next year. And then we apply an estimated rate. We actually use the current rate because El Toro has a different budget cycle. Their fiscal year starts July 1st, and so we get that information in time. And so the first 6 months of 2019, we've got the current rate in there, and we use a blended rate because you have 4 different tiers of usage. So we look at your usage at each of those and the rates and use a weighted average for that rate. And then we have a small contingency for potential rate increases next year of 2%. And I think I mentioned earlier that even though El Toro on July 1st this year didn't increase the tiered rate structure, we had misstated those rates in the current year budget for 2018. So we had to make that correction. And so you do see a slight increase of about 2.2% in your rates for next year. Then there's fixed charges based on meter size that they use to fund their capital improvement program.
Okay, well, let me make sure that, so what she did is, for the past 5 years, including this 2018, 2014 is the year, if you look at the bottom of that big sheet, has a higher usage of a cubic feet of water compared to 2015 and 16 and 17. And basically, she was, I guess you did use the low 3 years, 15, 16, 17, right?
Right, we de-emphasize the outliers.
Yeah.
And we weight more heavily that more average years.
Okay, so now, my question is, well, looking at the weather now, and do we expect next year it won't be any drought at all, just like those past 3 years, not using that much water, or we think might be some chances, say, giving a 55%, 10%, it might be still partially drought. Therefore, we're going to use more water than those 3 low years. So, to me, since now everybody says, California is in a drought, and in fact, we are in a drought, according to El Toro Waters slides yesterday. So I would feel more comfortable if we increase, in other words, add 10% of the high years with the rest of 90% of us average of us low 3 years. Because, I hate every time we look at the actual water usage, this much higher than budgeted. So if we anticipate more use of water, then we should budget slightly higher. So that's why I want to raising this question to the board. How do you feel? Do you feel, we just budget that low, so let it be beyond a budget, over budget, or we should be reasonably increased our budget slightly to more reflecting the more reality. I guess just question to the board.
I have a question, Betty. If you were to annualize where we are year-to-date in 2018, what would our expenditures be?
So with water, I can't annualize because of the heavy distribution in the summer months. But
Okay.
what I did is I looked at your 18 actuals through July, usage compared to what's budgeted for next year, and you're running 10% higher this year.
So what do
than
you
what we're
project, what do
budgeting
you
next year.
project 2018 to be?
Well, I can't project because your rainy season, you might
Oh,
get
you
some
can
towards the end of
project,
the
you
year.
could guesstimate, we could do something. So
You're going to be
you-
closer to your 2014 year, which was very high usage because of the dry weather.
So basically, with a budget of, I'm trying to go along with what James, so we have a budget of 2,533,000 for 18.
Right.
So using whatever financial ability that you can, and I know you're not a soothsayer, but what could we possibly project it to be? Is it going to be 300,000? Is it going to be higher than, see, trying to go along to what James is saying. From where we are and where we're going, is 2018 is going to come in over budget. It's going to come in, is it going to come in over 2019, which means to say that we would be budgeting less than we're anticipating spending in 18, which is not a smart thing to do. So that's what I'm trying to ask. And I totally hear what you're saying, James, and it is so hot out. I know we're trying to change the plants, whatever. I know that we're going to go to more recycled water next year, so those are all contingent. So it's very complex. It's not like we're talking about buying boxes of nails.
Right.
So
Something else we've done recently, again, I talked earlier about our turf management
I understand.
techniques are not really up to the
I know,
challenge we
but
have
the
here.
thing-
Well, let me finish.
Okay.
So I've directed them to reduce the water on all the kikuyu by 5%. Kikuyu is way too healthy in the summer. It grows 6 inches between most cycles with that kind of water on it. And so you've got to pull it back a little bit so it's not quite as excited to reach up towards the sun. And so I think if that looks pretty good, we'll probably pull it back again another 5% and start making it a little bit thirsty because it's a weed. It grows way too fast. You can't water it like you do fescue. It'll take off on you. So a lot of things we're doing, I think, can put some downward pressure there. I wouldn't say that's predictive, but water usage is difficult to predict because we don't know what's going to happen
we
with the weather.
understand, but.
Right, so let me tell you where you're at year-to-date. You are running 13% over budget year-to-date, and your budget for next year is only going up 7%.
Well, so,
Compared to budget.
as we exercised yesterday, if you say you take a 10% of the 2014 higher usage and average 90% of the 15, 16, 17 low usage, and that will, you say, that will increase, the budget by like $20,000?
No, we were looking at a specific dollar amount. But I think your best measure is to look at your current year results and decide if you want to budget at this level for next year. Like I said, you're running 13% over budget. You're increasing next year's budget by only 7%. So there's a
Which means-
5% gap there.
So, which means that we would then be budgeting next year under this year? Because this is,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And I don't expect any miracles, so yes, Bert.
Well, really, the basic question is, which is hard to predict, are we in a global warming situation right now?
Yes.
So is this just a warm period this year, or is this something we need to plan for long range?
Right.
Okay.
That's one point. The other point is, I think it's 2018, we kind of forecasted low because we said, hey, we're going to do a lot of turf reduction. But it's turned out we really didn't do nearly as much as we like to do. So, our landscape, Brad, you kind of lose your credibility. That's why we still want to budget slightly higher to facing this global warming. And if we don't use it, that's fine, But we don't want to, at the end of the year, wow, with this much over budgeted.
Well, then, the thing is a budget is a budget. We try to live within our budget.
Right.
We cannot, our fiduciary duty would be to try to get the budget as close to what reality is going to be.
Right.
And, so, we can go in there and say the water bill is going to be $10 next year, and then we would all be knowing that we were lying, which we could never do. So the question is do we take the water amount up? Or do we keep it the way it is and know that we're probably not going to, we're going to be over budget? So that's what the discussion is. So,
Yes, but may I comment? Betty, the 110 area is going totally recycled, and the recycled does not have Tier 3 and Tier 4. We were able to reduce the water budget in that regard?
No, I based it on current usage.
No, you really should consider the fact that the 110 area doesn't use Tier 3 and Tier 4 next year.
The other thing you may want to consider is, we had a fairly dry winter, and I instructed Bruce in January, February, and March to pour the water on this grass. So our usage in that first quarter was very high. We just didn't get enough rain, really, and we were kind of coming out of a big dry spell. So whether that will repeat again next year, it's hard to say. I probably wouldn't put that much water on it again, but we would put some, rather than let it, go dormant or in fact die. So that's a factor. But I do think, too, you put a lot of money in for modernization of the landscaping, and I think my anticipation is that we're going to identify those areas where grass doesn't grow well, and we're going to remove it and put something more drought tolerant in there, in its stead. And so I would anticipate we'll do a bit of that. We do have the reclaimed water that's now available. So I think there's some positive things that are flowing our way too. Whether it'll be enough to offset a very, very dry year, I don't know the answer to that. But I think it's a reasonable risk, and the amounts involved are not that much. And so, you know what? Let's put a little pressure on ourselves to try to hit that mark by doing some of these other things.
So our budget's incorrect?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
No.
Let's manage to it.
No Tier 3, Tier 4.
So no, our budget isn't incorrect, because the basic thing is she is taking that into account, because if she wasn't taking into an account, she would have upped the water number to be at least in line with what we're projecting it to be this year. And she has, would be $2,862,000. If we up the budget for 2018 by 13%, going along with how we're running, because it's for us to make a decision as to whether or not we want to approve this the way it is, or we want her to go back and reevaluate, which we can do, right? Go back and reevaluate the water numbers and try to come up with a better number. We're not looking at, which we have the right to do that too. So this is for us to discuss and say what we want to do. Kush?
I will concur with the plan that Brad suggested, that we should move forward with the current numbers, work harder on converting the turf areas that are not doing well, and push with the drought-resistant planting, and work on the same budget right now.
Yes, Roy?
I agree with Kush. When you're dealing with Mother Nature, it's very difficult to predict, and particularly in these times. And all you can do is take a rational approach and then try to manage to that with all the things that Landscape Committee and Brad and his staff are trying to do. And if you miss your mark, you miss your mark. I mean, we had the same problem. I know you don't like me to talk about Massachusetts, but we had the same problem in Massachusetts in my condo association, trying to figure out how much snow we were going to get, because that was our largest expense, was planning for how many blizzards, how low the temperature was going to get, how long the ice was going to last. And, we just did what Betty did. We looked at our yearly averages back, 4 or 5 years, as much data as we had, and we took our best shot. And sometimes we got lucky and we had a surplus in that area, and sometimes we weren't, and we had to go for special assessments. We don't have to do that here because we have fantastic ability to absorb some of these things. You were talking about unappropriated funds and so forth. I mean, there are ways, we're big enough, there are ways for us to spread if we miss. But I think this is the most rational approach that we can take to this, and I would support what the staff has done.
Go ahead, James.
Oh, well, I don't disagree, but maybe because we didn't do nearly as much as the turf reduction this year or last year, that's why I try to use this opportunity to give Brad and landscape pressure. Let's actually be serious, let's do it. Thank you.
And thank you, James, because exactly, that was exactly what I was thinking. I think that we sit and every month we talk to Betty and say, there must be something wrong with this water bill because it's way too high, and it's like, well, isn't the energy bill coming in where we want it to come in? Yeah, it is. What's wrong with it? And I think that I know that we have to have a much more conscious effort on the part, Brad, if you would pay attention.
I got you.
On the part of the departments to not be doing any unnecessary planting. We have to be much more conscious about advising the residents when they're out of tier. We have to just keep our water conservation program out there in front of constant communication at all times. I mean, we see these people watering their, I don't know if making people feel guilty is going to help, but we have to, and I know that Jules and James work very hard on this, but I think if we're going to commit to this number, this has to be a conscious, everyday effort on everybody's part and the community also, to make sure that we live within the numbers, because we could just raise it to, 4 million. What would that do and do whatever we want? But we can't do that, so it's up to us. So I think that maybe on this, I don't know, do we need a motion? No, we'll just leave it alone. But if anybody, because we're going to have to decide if we want to approve this now to go to the next level. We have to decide now if we're okay with the number.
Right. Well, I'm hoping that we would get a head nod today. You don't necessarily have to vote on what we're doing. And then if that's the case, we'll bring it back to your September meeting with a resolution for you to adopt.
Okay, so, all right, that was a great discussion, though, great conversation. Thank you, James, for leading us down that road. Yes, John?
One last comment. This isn't rocket science. The amount we spent on Tier 3 and Tier 4 in this year goes away next year. So find out how much we spent in the 110 area in Tier 3 and Tier 4.
Okay.
And we subtract it off the budget.
Jack?
There's a difference between variables you have no control over, like weather, and things you're talking about we have control over, pardon me. It might be useful for us to list the variables we can control, planning, irrigation, whatever it is, rather than just being conscious of it, to be focused on specifics.
Oh, did I look at you? Did I look at Jules?
No, you looked at me.
No, I was looking at Jules, actually, because
Until we can establish how much water and dollars we save by doing any of the things that we are trying to do in landscape, we're just shooting in the wind in terms of depending on those things to help us. We know that if we put in drought-resistant plants, that might help. We know that if we take out grass, that might help. But we have no quantitative information as to how much we can actually save. And therefore, it's difficult, even with, at this point, where we're trying to anticipate weather and then what we do and so forth. I agree with you, Jack. We ought to at least have an idea about tracking those things. But we need data, we need information, and anecdotal from Oceanside or some other place doesn't really help us a whole lot. And that would be a start, I agree with you.
Okay, so I guess we could sit in here and talk about this until it starts to rain.
Seems like the water
But
committee
I'm
ought
not
to
going
take that up.
But I'm just going to take 2 more questions, and then I think that we're going to open it up in case there are any comments from the
You haven't
members.
finished, you haven't finished comments for the board members.
I know, so I'm going to get the comments from the board members. Yes, Jules? This
we
is
have-
on water, this isn't your comment on your budget.
No,
You should get to do this too.
this is only on water. And we actually do know, we have some pretty good data on how much money and how much water you can save. Every demonstration project in every town that I have checked so far, the minimum savings of water is over 70%.
Okay, yes, Bert?
Actually, I was going to make that same point. There's enough data around from communities that have already launched these type of programs, that we can feel pretty comfortable how much water we'll save. Maybe not to the penny, but we can get a pretty good idea.
So then the responsibility moves over to Bert. I mean, not to Bert, I'm sorry. I must be getting cross-eyed. It moves over to Brad. So we're not there yet. So that, you just want to stand? Okay. Okay, so we're still going around.
Well, let's
So-
just, on this subject, though.
No, resident comments, we're not having a conversation. Resident comments, you can have your comment when it's time. Yes, Bill?
I just wanted to thank Steve and Rosemarie for their leadership on this budget. I think they did a marvelous job getting this 2019 budget focused, and we got, I think, a lot of good numbers here. I also had a question for you, Brad. Can you give us an update on legislation that impacts, California legislation that impacts this community? There were several pieces of that legislation. I'm thinking of balconies, and I'm thinking of mailing and those such things.
Yeah, well, it's been actually a pretty active session for community associations. Probably the biggest threat for us right now, given that CIDs have been taken, common interest developments have been taken out of the balcony bill, we will not be exposed to those costs, which we anticipated were going to be very high. That was the very detailed and destructive testing of balconies every so many years, and it was just going to be a huge cost for us. The legislation resulted from an apartment failure, basically a slumlord in Oakland who didn't maintain their balconies properly, and it collapsed and killed a number of people. So we're not going to be subject to that, so that was a good amendment that we worked pretty hard on, along with CAI and others. The bill that is probably the most threatening for us is the Wykowski bill. I think that's 1265, that sound right? Yeah. And that would change a lot of things about elections and voting and qualifications, and just puts a lot of more requirements on the board, and would represent a pretty significant cost increase to those kinds of activities, as well as taking local authority away from this board and basically putting it up in Sacramento. We think that's kind of a bad idea, the one size fits all. You know, I used to have a condo in Big Bear, and no one was a permanent resident up there. So if you had a residency requirement, you couldn't have a board, you know. Here, most of our folks are residents, so having a resident requirement to serve on the board is probably a good thing. But those are decisions that each association should make, not some bureaucrat up in Sacramento or some detached legislature doesn't really have an idea of how these things really run. So we're opposing that bill. And then our bill is moving forward, and there'll be probably some changes in it, but that would allow for electronic communication to our residents. We're going to take this big, thick package that you call the business plan, and we'll take yours, and we'll take GRS, we'll put them together, and we'll mail them out to all your residents at a pretty significant cost, along with a bunch of other stuff, various disclosures and declarations and other things that we're required to mail. We think most of our residents would be just content getting that in an email. And so we've asked that they be allowed to opt in to receive that information that way, and that bill looks like it's going to go through uncontested, as well as the whole, you know, the 30-day notification period, because you meet, you know, on the same day every month, you know, the third.
28 days.
Yeah, it lost, this year I think there were 7 occasions where there were not 30 days between your meetings. And so you either had to call a special meeting, or you had to put it off a month to make a decision, 2 months. And so we've asked that be changed to 28 days so that every time you meet, you will met that requirement. And so that's going through without significant comment. The piece that is getting some comment is, and these are all in the same bill, is the election by acclamation. As you're all well aware, and I'm sure many of the community are aware, we conducted 2 elections last year that were basically and completely unnecessary. And so it's basically our bill would say, hey, if you have less than or equal to the number of candidates as you do openings, then you don't have an election, you just elect by acclamation, which is basically what school districts do, boards of supervisors, city council members, that's all done that way. If there's a process for not running expensive elections when you don't have enough candidates to justify doing so. So that's getting a little bit of controversy from some of the homeowner advocacy groups, but it's our bill. I think it's been out of several committees and on the floor of the Senate, and in all those votes, it's had 1 no vote. So I'm pretty sure that's going to be on the governor's desk, and so we'll see what he does with it. We'll have a separate campaign to inform the governor about our feelings about all these bills.
Okay.
Thank you.
So now, thank you, Bill. Bert? These are comments, we're not talking about water.
I'm not talking about water. I'll talk about landscaping, though. I think if we're going to cut back on water, we have to make sure that we have a landscaping program that's going to work. And also, we need to educate our residents that they may have yellow grass. That can happen.
Okay.
I'm looking at these handouts that you gave us, these sheets would summarize it, and I find there's an inconsistency. I don't know.
Depends on which is the newest one you have.
Well, you gave us a revised one, but still the figures are somewhat different. So I just want to make sure that we get a final copy that reflects the numbers that we saw today, and that I know this one is not correct, the one that I have from the agenda pack. So if you look at the numbers carefully, you'll see there's some inconsistency. I think the final numbers are right, but when you go down, particularly the replacement fund and the unappropriated expenditure fund. So unless they've been switched around.
Right, yeah, we had a revised schedule. The totals were correct, but the line items were mismatched because we added in that new laundry replacement fund. So let's talk after, Bert, and you can point out any discrepancies that you see, and
Okay.
I'll make sure that we're up to date.
Okay, that would be good. And also, I want to recognize the job that Rosemary and Steve have done on this, because they really worked hard on this. Thank you.
Thank you. It wasn't much, no. No, it was a lot, but thank you. Okay, Jules.
On a lighter note, and the board, of course, is fully aware of this, but for the people who are watching on television, Sunday night is going to be an opportunity to see something in the sky that you may not see for another 10 years. There's going to be an astronomical fireworks show, the height of the Perseid shower. Get to a dark area, familiarize yourself with the dark. It takes about 15 minutes, and look up in the sky, and if it's clear enough and it's dark enough, you're going to see hundreds of shooting stars. It's a remarkable show. Thank you.
So it isn't something that GRF is doing? Just in case Brad had to do a flyer. So, okay, thank you, Jules. But remember, we have a meeting Monday morning so you don't want to be late. Okay, Roy?
Yeah, I want to echo some of the thanks. I've had the privilege of being part of many, many, many budget preparation activities. This is my first with Third Board, and I think that everybody participated in this. It was a rational process. I think we came up with a very good product that reflects our priorities, and our priorities have changed, even as the weather has changed. And I do want to thank all the board members, because we worked very hard in the committees, as well as Steve and Rosemarie, who put the final package together. And also, I want to thank Brad and his staff, who hung in there with us all the way. and produced a product that I think we can be very, 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 very proud of. Thank you.
Okay, so at this point, we're up to doing a special thing. We're allowing a member comments. If any of the members have a comment, you give your name and your manor number, and then you're allowed 3 minutes.
Thank you. 3503A Bahia Blanca West, Burt Moldow. When I was a director on Third Mutual, I was told that one of the major responsibilities I had was to make sound business decisions. Well, one such opportunity exists for Third, which so far I believe has been overlooked in the 2019 budget. That's namely investing in a solar installation in 3 buildings in the Gate 14 community area. I was really proud of our board when we voted to install solar panels on 12 of the Garden Villa buildings to reduce the Mutual's electric bill. At the same time, a possible installation in Gate 14 was put on hold pending performance evaluation of the panels we approved. Well, the numbers are in, and they show that Third saved $254,000 on the first full year of operation for these panels. And even counting the one-time, that was counting the one-time $46,000 meter fees that SCE sprung on us. After this year, Third will save at least $300,000 a year in electric charges for the 39 remaining years of the life of these panels. As energy costs from the utilities go up, and Brad indicated they always go up over the next 40 years, okay, our costs that the panels are generating will remain fixed, and our return each year will increase. Ultimately, the community may save, in the 40 years, over $9 million over the life of those panels.
Yeah.
This is who's timing.
In essence, looking at what we have now, we're returning an 8% return on our investment. Well, we only get 2% on our reserves. I mean, would you invest 8% for an 8% return on your money? I would. Thing is, electricity rates are going to continue to rise, and so will the value of the energy that these panels produce. Knowing this, you can imagine my surprise that there was no allocation for the installation of these solar panels. After all, we did prove the investment in solar is a sound and safe business decision. Why hasn't the board moved forward as expected? 2 years ago, we were able to fund the project with surplus end-of-year cash. But in this budget, the funds may not be readily available. I recognize this. And this board needs to be creative. But as we have shown, being creative will be well worth it. And there are several funding alternatives that the board can consider.
Time is, have you been timing him, Chris?
No.
This a lot less than 3 minutes.
Okay.
You got another minute.
You have 1 minute left.
Okay, there's several funding alternatives that can be explored. Well, how much will these panels cost? Last January, the solar installer estimated that the Gate 14 area would cost $550,000. Based on the performance of the recently installed panels, I estimated that Third would save an additional $75,000 a year if on its electric bills in Gate 14 installation. And with rising electric costs, as I pointed out, payback could be less than 10 years. Even sooner if Third could apply a year-end surplus to the purchase as it did last year. We need to recognize that these energy savings could be applied to other projects, offset the rising assessments over the 40-year life of these panels. For this reason, I asked the board to reconsider the 2019 budget and include the solar installation at Gate 14. It's a sound business decision and a long-term boost to the community's finances. And incidentally, it would prevent thousands of tons of CO2 being put into the atmosphere, which I'm sure you're all aware is adding to our climate change and the heat that we're experiencing.
Thank you, Brett.
Thank you.
I have 2 comments, and then anyone on the board could comment. Number 1, it is our fiduciary duty to try to make sound business decisions. And based upon that, we have worked with our staff and with the person who's in charge of maintenance and construction, with our general manager, and we have taken it upon ourselves to hire an energy consultant who will be the person who will be able to work with us to advise us if this is the time for us to install more solar. In addition, we have met with the company who has done our solar installation, and he suggested that we wait a little because there's so many things that are happening to modernize solar that we should not follow another installation the way of the one that we have installed. That was his opinion. In addition, I think that there's so many new things that are coming up in solar that will eventually, I mean, they're talking about things that they're going to put together for the three-story buildings so that all the people in the building might decide to install solar. So I believe firmly that there are lots of opportunities out there, and that is one of the reasons why we hired the energy consultant, and that is one of the things on our list. So we thank you for your concern, and that's where we are right now. But do you have anything you want to add to that?
Nothing more than you said.
Okay, anything that we want to add? So we thank you always for your concern because you really drive us. Brad, do you have anything?
I would just conclude by, again, thanking the board for your hard work. It's really above and beyond what you do, and I'm honored to serve with you. I saw the heads nodding in the proper direction there, so my intention is to bring the business plan back to you with a resolution with these numbers. Again, making any adjustments for changes that we've made over the last couple of weeks that Bert has highlighted, and then we'll get this thing approved and out to residents.
So you just told us that we have to nod if.
I saw nods already. I've seen 11 heads bobbing here in the right direction, so I'm feeling pretty comfortable at this point.
And Betty, did you have anything?
No, just thank you. We'll get this wrapped up and board approved in September so we can notify the members and their annual budget report.
And we don't want to no, we don't want to exclude Chris and Jose, and thank you for all of the wonderful work that you did. Thank you. You're always there for us. So at this point,
You need to take a vote?
no, he said he just needed a nod.
That's all you need is a nod?
Yeah.
Because we have to vote at the
Is that
board.
like-
I even left the wink out,
Is that like, is that like acclamation?
a little bit.
So at this point, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.